So I just was at the nursery, got a new lavender, and I want to show you guys how to propagate lavender from a plant that you just purchased or from a plant that's growing in your garden already. I'm here in Westchester, Pennsylvania, Zone 6B, and the best time to do this is when, a lavender looks like this, either from the nursery or once your lavenders are really fleshed out by the early part of summertime with a lot of new fresh growth for the season. If you are propagating from a plant already growing in your garden, you want to do this before your plants go to flower. That's the best time because then your plants will have a chance to regrow some of that foliage and then still produce flowers the same season. So the first thing you want to notice is that lavender, it's considered a sub-shrub because they produce a woody growth like this. You can see it's dark brown, but then they will create new fresh green stems on top. And over time, these green stems will get woodier. That's called lignifying. And what we want to do is we want to get sections of these green stems that are about 4 to 6 inches in height. So you can see I'm going to travel down to about here. And if I peel some of that foliage back, you can see this is kind of an area where it's going from green to brown. So that's a pretty good little section. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take some nice sharp shears and I'm going to cut right about there. Here I have another one. I'm going to travel down. I can see it starts to get woody right about there. And I'll cut right there. Another guy right here. And now this guy is ready to go be planted out into the garden. So now that we have all of our stem cuttings, we need to expose this bottom section of the stem. About 1 inch to 1.5 inches would be good. Now, you'll be tempted to just kind of like tear them off, but we don't want to do that because that is going to end up damaging the stem, and then that's going to need to heal before it can really root. So what we're going to do, we're going to take our shears and we're just going to trim off all of these lower leaves. And that looks pretty good. Go a little faster this time. All right, so here you can see all my prepared stem cuttings. I did as well as I could. It's not super easy when they have tons of foliage like these ones did, but this should be a-okay. Next thing, we want to get some small containers. These are just some 3.5 inch containers. I'm going to be using this Coast of Maine organic and natural. It's an indoor houseplant mix, which means it'll have really great drainage. If you have a seedling mix or any sort of all-purpose potting mix, that'll be fine. And when you fill them up, I like to pack it down just a little bit. And I always find it easier to pre-moisten whenever I'm propagating. Now, it can be really helpful to use a rooting hormone powder when we're propagating our lavender. This is what I'm using. You can go down to the description below. You'll find a link to this. You can order it and have it shipped to your home. So then what I'm going to do, I'm going to take each one of these and I'm going to dip it into the rooting hormone, shake it off a little bit. You can see nice and coated. I'll just put those off to the side. And once you have your cuttings prepared, we're gonna take, I don't know, I've just found a piece of something, and we're gonna make a little hole. It's better to do that. You don't wanna just jam it in there because then some of that rooting hormone will actually just rub off of our cutting. So we wanna make that hole, and we're gonna take it and basically just like that, to where the foliage that we have remaining stays just on above that soil. And I have 8 cuttings for 3 pots, so 1 will get 2 and 2 will get 3. Or 1 will get 2 and 2 will get 3, yeah. So pretty straightforward. Now is a little bit the complicated part is finding the right location for these. They want to stay out of the sun. They don't want to be they don't want any rainfall. We want to keep them moist though at all times, but putting them under where they're going to get rain can lead to some adverse effects. So I'm going to keep them just all situated together. It just keeps it a little bit neater for me. And I'm going to put them in this covered porch outside. No direct sunlight, no rainfall. They need warmth and they need to stay moist, and they should root pretty quickly. So I'm going to keep them here, and that's all for now. We'll revisit them once I see some action going on. So the most challenging aspect will be keeping the right amount of humidity and moisture with our propagation material. Now here you can see the different pots. This guy is looking, you can still see some darkness, and that is signaling to us that there is still some moisture in the pot, in the soil. Whereas this one right here, it looks quite dry, maybe even on the cusp of a little bit too dry. And that is our cue. We want to give them some additional precipitation right now. So when we do provide precipitation, we want to do so very gently and just a little bit. And as you can see, the soil is nice and moistened. But if you lift it up, it doesn't feel heavy, it still feels light. That is the key. And then we'll just put it back where it was. All right, so I think the lavender is finally able to say these were successful propagations. And the reason is, as you can see, there is new foliage emanating from the tops of these cuttings. That means our plants, they've had the opportunity to create a root system. They're generating new growth. But even though they are starting to create roots, we're not going to transplant them yet. We're going to wait until we can confidently say that our cuttings are really filling out each of these containers with a nice root system. You really want your propagations to be just kind of busting at the seams before you transplant them to the next size container or into the garden. So we're going to continue to monitor them, ensuring they don't stay dry for any long periods of time, just like we've been doing. So far so good. Well, now that the growth is really flushing out, you can see it's getting taller. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take it out of this covered, shaded area, and I'm going to allow it to get a little bit of sunlight, direct sunlight throughout the day. I'm going to place it next to these other little plants I have here, which gets about 1 or 2 hours of direct sunlight in the early morning part of the day. And it also is going to be exposed to the rainfall in case we do have rain. So now they are ready to start surviving on their own. All right, so you can see the lavender, it's looking good. It's really starting to grow. It's grown, I don't know, 4-5 inches or so. So now I think we can absolutely say they've been successful, and we can go ahead and transplant them into a larger container or right into the garden. But before we do that, let's just pop one out, take it out of the pot, see what the roots are looking like. All right, just go around the edges nice and gently. Hey, that looks pretty darn good. You see the roots are starting to make its way to the very bottom of the container. That's a great sign. That means these are definitely ready to be transplanted now. If you're looking for a more in-depth video on how to get them planted, get them growing, check the video description below. You'll find a much more detailed video. But if you're watching at this point, that means you probably already know how to plant them, how to get them grown. So we're just gonna pick a nice sunny spot, move the mulch out, make sure it has nice drainage here. And because these plants' roots are still so nice and fine, we're not gonna break the roots up at all. We're just gonna get it transplanted nice and gently. Maybe just the most slight amount. And of course, ensure that that soil line is flush with the soil line. Then we'll give it some water and let it do its thing. And with that, now you know how to take cuttings from your lavender plants and get them propagated so you can make more plants for free right from your own garden. If you have any further questions or comments, definitely leave them down in the comment section below. Subscribe to our channel. We have hundreds and hundreds of plant videos that you might find a little bit enjoyable. Thanks for joining me here on Plant Vibrations. I'll catch you soon. Ciao.